The sky above the alien planet was dark purple, filled with stars and distant moons. Suddenly, a streak of fire cut across the clouds. It was a small human fighter ship, damaged, spinning out of control. The alarms inside screamed as the pilot, a human soldier named Ryan Cole, struggled with the controls. His face was bruised, his eyes focused. He had been in a battle, and now he was crashing toward an unknown world. His ship hit the surface hard. Dust and fire exploded around the impact site. The metal twisted. The ship broke into pieces. Ryan blacked out. Several miles away, a rescue alert rang through the halls of Zoral Prime Medical Center. This was the most advanced alien hospital on the planet, a place where no human had ever entered before. Nurse Solara, a young alien with smooth violet skin and glowing teal eyes, rushed into action. She was calm under pressure, known for her gentle touch and sharp mind. Her long fingers moved quickly across the medical scanner. Unidentified life-form species. Human, the machine reported. Human? Solara whispered. I've only read about them. The transport ship landed near the crash site. Smoke filled the air. Ryan's body was found among the wreckage, barely alive. His armor was cracked, and one leg was bleeding. Solara moved closer and placed her hand on his chest. He's alive, she said. But we must act fast. They placed Ryan on a floating stretcher and rushed him back to the medical center. Many alien doctors stood back, watching in silence. Some whispered, dangerous species. Others said, let him die. Why take the risk? But Solara ignored them. She brought him into her private treatment room. The machine scanned his body while she removed parts of his armor carefully. Burns, cuts, bruises, his body had suffered a lot. She used healing gel on his chest and arms. Her hands worked gently, her focus sharp. Then she reached the lower part of his armor. Click. She unlocked the belt. Slide. The piece fell to the floor. Solara blinked. Her gaze froze on a certain part of his body that had changed. It had grown. It looked swollen, pulsing slightly. Her hand trembled as she held the scanner. Infection? She thought. Or mutation. She pressed the emergency call button. Another nurse, Malin, rushed in. What is it? Malin asked. Solara pointed. His limb. It's inflamed. Malin leaned in. That's not a limb. What? I think it's part of his mating biology. Solara's skin flushed light pink, the color of embarrassment in her species. Mating? But why now? He's unconscious. They both stared at it, unsure what to do. The scanner couldn't explain it. The translator device didn't help. The medical records of human anatomy were limited. Should we remove it? Malin asked. No, Solara snapped. We don't understand enough yet. We need him awake. The two nurses stepped back. Solara placed a warm cloth over the area, hoping to reduce the inflammation. Her mind raced with questions. Was it dangerous? Was he dying? Was this normal for humans? She sat beside him, looking at his peaceful face. He looked young, maybe in his late 20s. His hair was short, dark, and a bit messy. His breathing was steady now. She noticed a small scar on his jawline. It made him look strong. For the first time, she felt something strange. A curiosity beyond medicine. A feeling she didn't know how to explain. Hours passed. The machines beeped softly. His vitals improved. Solara stayed by his side the whole time, refusing to leave him alone. Then, his eyes opened. Ryan blinked slowly, looking up at the strange ceiling. Where am I? He muttered. Solara jumped slightly. She activated the translator. You are safe. You crashed on our planet. You are in medical care. Ryan turned his head. His eyes met hers. Alien? He asked. She nodded. Yes. I am Solara, nurse. You are in Zoral Prime Medical. He winced in pain. You saved me? Yes, she said softly. But there is one concern. He raised an eyebrow. Concern? She hesitated. Your lower anatomy. It is swollen. Is that normal for a human male? Ryan blinked once. Then twice. Oh, damn, he whispered, turning red. Solara tilted her head. So it is not an infection? Ryan laughed weakly. No, it's natural. Just a misunderstanding. She nodded slowly, filing the information away. But her mind was still spinning. She had just met a human for the first time, and now she had touched him in a way no alien ever had. This was just the beginning. Asterisk Nurse Solara stood at the far end of the medical bay, arms folded, eyes staring at the scanner screen with a deep frown on her face. The word stable blinked softly in green letters. The human Ryan Cole was no longer in danger. His wounds were healing. But Solara wasn't relaxed. Her mind wasn't on his bruised ribs or fractured leg. Her mind was stuck on one thing. The swelling. She had seen thousands of injuries. She had treated warriors torn open by plasma blasts and pilots burned by reactor leaks. But never had she seen something like that. It wasn't just the size or suddenness. It was the heat, the pulsing, the strange texture. It didn't behave like any infection or trauma. And the worst part? It didn't look like a medical problem at all. Solara called in the hospital, AI again. Run biological comparison between the swelling and any known species pathology. The machine replied, no match found. She bit her lip. That wasn't helpful. Just then, the door slid open, and Malin entered again, her face full of nervous energy. So, did it go down? Solara shook her head slowly. Still active. Malin stepped closer. Maybe it's a defense mechanism? Like those beetle species that swell when threatened? He's unconscious, Solara said sharply. Why would he need defense in sleep? Both nurses turned toward the human, still lying motionless on the medical platform. A warm cloth still covered the area in question, but the scanner lights were picking up everything beneath it. Maybe we should wake him up again? Malin suggested. He seemed aware last time, Solara hesitated. Her fingers hovered over the stimulant injector. She wanted to understand. She needed answers, but a part of her also didn't want to embarrass him. Too late. With a soft groan, Ryan stirred again. Ooh, where? Solara leaned in. Ryan, can you hear me? His eyes fluttered open. This time he looked clearer, more alert. You again, the nurse? Yes, she replied calmly. You're safe. But we need to ask a few private questions. His face tensed. Is it about the swelling? Solara blinked. So you know? Ryan let out a breath and covered his face with one hand. Yeah, I figured. It's not a medical emergency. It's just biology. Please explain. He looked away, face turning red. It happens sometimes when the body reacts on its own. Especially if there's touch. Solara tilted her head. Touch causes swelling? Ryan sighed. It's not dangerous, I promise. Where I come from, it's completely normal. It's a male response. Malin raised an eyebrow. So this is a human male function? Yeah, he muttered. Can we please not make a big deal out of it? Solara stepped closer, curiosity burning behind her glowing teal eyes. We've never seen this reaction before. Our males don't swell like this. We thought perhaps it was a sign of serious internal pressure buildup. Ryan let out a weak laugh. It's definitely pressure, but not the dangerous kind. Malin whispered, then what kind is it? Ryan covered his face again. I'm not explaining that part. The room went silent. Solara exchanged a glance with Malin. Then, carefully, she pulled up the digital anatomy chart from earlier. This swelling is located in a region marked for reproduction. Is that accurate? Ryan groaned. Please stop talking about it like I'm a science experiment. But we must understand it, Solara said gently. You are the first human we've ever treated. If we misunderstood, we could have damaged you. Rayan blinked at that. You were going to do something? Malin coughed. Some of us thought amputation was the only option. Ryan sat up straight. What? Only if it had gotten worse. Solara quickly added. His expression was full of horror, then disbelief, then amusement. You were going to chop it off? For your safety. Malin insisted. He laughed deep, tired, embarrassed laughter. You have no idea how much that would have ruined my life. Solara couldn't help but smile, just a little. There was something oddly charming about this human, so nervous, so open, so real, not like the cold alien warriors she treated every day. We're sorry, she said softly. We were only trying to help. I know, Ryan said, relaxing again. Just, maybe don't touch that area unless it's really necessary. Solara felt heat rise in her cheeks again. I understand. She backed away, but her eyes stayed on him longer than needed. For a moment, she forgot she was a nurse. She forgot the rules of her species. She only saw a man injured, kind. And unlike anyone she had ever known. As Ryan lay back and closed his eyes, Solara turned to Malin and whispered, We must study human biology more deeply. Malin smirked. For science? Solara looked back one last time. Yes, for science. Ryan Cole was still lying on the recovery bed, his body tired but no longer in pain. The alien machines around him beeped softly, scanning, healing, and monitoring. The scent of strange herbs filled the air. Zalara's species used them to calm nerves. But his mind was far from calm. That he had just learned that an alien nurse almost amputated his manhood because they thought it was an infection. Now he was wide awake. And extremely cautious, Nurse Solara entered the room again. Her steps were quiet, graceful, almost like a dance. She carried a small tray with nutrient fluid, vitamins, and a folded screen. Ryan, she said softly. You need to eat. He gave her a weak smile. As long as you don't serve that healing gel again, it tastes like glue. She tilted her head. Glue? Sticky, bad taste. She blinked. Ah, our warriors usually like it. Well, I'm not one of your warriors. No, she said thoughtfully, looking at him from head to toe. You are something different. Ryan raised an eyebrow, a small smirk forming. Is that good or bad? Solara didn't answer. Instead, she unfolded the small screen and placed it near his head. This is a more advanced translator, she said. It syncs with your mind waves. May I connect it? He hesitated, then nodded. She leaned close, attaching the soft gel nodes to his temples. Her fingers brushed his skin cold, smooth, almost like silk. He didn't flinch, but he did feel his heart skip a beat. You're very warm, she noted, surprised. You're very cold, he replied. She gave the tiniest smile. Now, stay still. The machine beeped once, then a soft hum began in Ryan's ears. He suddenly understood things he hadn't before. The alien signs on the walls, the tiny coded chirps of the machines, even the nurse's soft hum under her breath. It translated into music in his mind. Whoa, he whispered. It works, Solara smiled. Now communication should be easier. That's great, Ryan said, sitting up a little. Because I've got about 100 questions. Solara picked up a stylus. So do I. They stared at each other, then both laughed. The translator caught it all, turning their laughter into soft waves of comfort. Ryan leaned back. Okay. First question. Did you really almost cut it off? Her face flushed pink again. That was never confirmed. Confirmed? You called a whole team of nurses. We thought it was spreading. You must understand we've never seen a human body before. We panicked. He chuckled, then sighed. Fair enough. But if I ever fall asleep again, just put a warning sign. Do not touch the area, Solara nodded seriously. Understood. She began scanning his healing progress again. But something was different now. Their connection had shifted. The silence between them was no longer awkward. It felt comfortable, familiar. "Can I ask something now?" she said after a moment. "Sure. What is the purpose of that reaction?" He coughed. "We're doing this now?" "I'm a nurse," she said firmly. "I need to know." He looked up at the ceiling. "It's a response to touch, warmth, attraction. It doesn't always mean anything serious. Sometimes it just happens. So, when I touched you," Ryan closed his eyes. "Yes, probably that." She paused, thinking deeply. "Is this a weakness?" He opened his eyes and laughed again. "In war, maybe. In life, depends on who's touching you." She didn't fully understand the meaning, but she understood the feeling behind his words. "Interesting," she whispered. "Our species doesn't react that way. We bond through thought sharing. Emotion is shared, not hidden." He smiled. "Humans do a lot of hiding, especially feelings." Solara sat beside him, her eyes curious but softer now. "I think I want to understand more about human feelings. More than just medicine." He turned toward her. "Why?" She looked down at her hands. "Because I felt something. When I touched you, confusion, curiosity, but also something warm." Ryan stared at her. Slowly, he reached for her hand, not grabbing it, just lightly brushing it. "Maybe we're both just learning," he said. Solara didn't pull away. For a long time there was silence. Then the door opened suddenly, and another alien medic stepped in. His eyes narrowed at the scene before him. "Nurse Solara," he said coldly. "You've been spending too much time in here." She stood quickly, pulling her hand away. "I'm just monitoring the patient, Dr. Varan." He looked at Ryan with disgust. "We are healers, not friends to unknown species. Be careful, nurse." He left. The room felt colder after he was gone. Ryan looked at her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "He doesn't trust humans. Many here don't. And you?" Solara took a deep breath. "I trust what I feel. And right now, I feel you are not dangerous." Ryan smiled again. "That's good to hear. Because I think you might be the only reason I'm still alive." Asterisk, the lights in the medical wing dimmed as night fell across the twin moons of Zoral Prime. Most of the alien nurses had gone to rest. Machines continued their quiet humming, healing and checking vitals in silence. But one room still had a soft light glowing. And inside it, one nurse had chosen not to leave. Solara sat beside the human's bed. Her eyes focused on the glowing screen floating in front of her. It showed detailed information about human anatomy, what little data the Central Archives had collected. But it was full of blanks, gaps, unknowns. It made no sense to her that a species so widespread in space could still be so unexplored. She looked at Ryan, who was sleeping peacefully now. His breathing was slow, his chest rising and falling beneath the soft sheets. He looked peaceful, gentle, yet something about him pulled her in like gravity. Her fingers hovered over the medical scanner again. Not to heal, but to understand, to learn more, to study the strange reactions his body had to touch, especially her touch. Not long ago, she was afraid of him. Now she wanted to know everything. She spoke softly. "Why does my heart race when you speak? This is not science." Suddenly, Ryan stirred. "Talking to yourself again?" He mumbled without opening his eyes. She jumped. I thought you were asleep. I was. Then I heard your voice. Sounded nice." She blinked, unsure how to respond. He opened his eyes slowly and turned his head to her. "Still studying me?" "I'm curious," she admitted. He smiled. "You've been curious since the swelling incident." Her cheeks flushed light. Pink again. "That was a misunderstanding." "A memorable one," he teased. She tried to stay professional, but she laughed softly. "I just want to understand how your species works. There are so many things we don't know." "Like emotions?" he asked. She nodded. Yes, your body reacts without your mind. It's chaotic. Exactly, he said. Humans are chaos with a heartbeat. Solara stared at him, her expression thoughtful. Your people confuse me. But I can't stop thinking about you. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Thinking in what way? I don't know yet, she whispered. That's why I'm here. For a long moment, they just sat in silence. No words, just the quiet sound of machines and breath. Then, slowly, Solara reached forward and touched his hand. It was warm, rough from calluses, nothing like the smooth skin of her own kind. But when their hands met, her body reacted. A small spark like static traveled through her fingers. She didn't pull away. Ryan looked down at their hands, surprised. You okay? She nodded. It's just new. Ryan turned his hand, palm up, letting her hold it fully. For me too. Solara's eyes met his. In that moment, something shifted, something invisible but powerful. Her heart thumped in her chest. Louder than before, she whispered, Our kind, we do not touch unless we are bonded. Emotionally, spiritually. Then why are you touching? Me now? Ryan asked. She hesitated. Because I want to. And that scares me. He squeezed her fingers gently. You don't have to be scared. I do, she said. Our rules are strict. They would separate us, punish me. Ryan sighed. Because I'm human? Because you make me feel something I can't explain. The lights dimmed further, the system entering sleep mode. But neither of them moved. Solara turned toward the data screen again, her eyes scanning words she no longer saw. Tell me more about your people, she said. Ryan chuckled. We mess up, we fall in love fast, we fight for dumb reasons. And we protect those who matter. She smiled. That sounds dangerous. It is, he agreed. But it's also beautiful. Solara leaned closer. Tell me about love. He blinked. That's a big question. I have time. He looked into her eyes and said softly, Love is when you feel safe with someone. When you don't want to be anywhere else but near them. When their pain becomes your pain. And their joy becomes yours. Solara didn't speak for a long time. Then she whispered, Maybe I am learning faster than I thought. The translator hummed quietly between them, but it couldn't translate the emotions growing in their eyes. In the hallway outside, someone passed by and stopped at the door, hearing quiet voices, sensing something forbidden. But inside, nothing mattered except this moment. Alien curiosity had brought Solara into this room, but something deeper was keeping her there, and it wasn't science anymore. The next day, the medical wing was quieter than usual. Word had spread across the staff Nurse Solara had spent the entire night with the human patient. Some whispered that she was violating the medical code. Others warned she was becoming infected by human emotions. But Solara didn't listen. She didn't care what they thought. All she knew was that when she entered the room and saw Ryan awake, smiling at her, something inside her felt warm and full like a star lighting up beneath her skin. Good morning, she said, her voice soft but steady. Ryan sat up slowly, wincing as his healing muscles stretched. Morning, nurse. Or is it evening? I've lost track in this place. Solara walked closer with a datapad in her hand. You're recovering faster than expected. But you still need assisted movement therapy. I figured, Ryan said, swinging his legs over the edge of the bed. Physical therapy, right? Stretching, walking, all the fun stuff? She nodded. Your muscles have been in stasis. If we don't help them soon, they'll forget how to move. He raised an eyebrow. And you're going to help me remember? Her cheeks flushed again. Yes, that's my duty. He stood slowly, trembling a little, gripping the bed rail for balance. All right, let's do this. Solara walked over and gently placed her hands on his shoulders. You must trust me. He glanced at her, eyes twinkling. I already do. She guided him to the padded floor in the center of the room. The healing lights overhead cast a soft glow, and gentle music played calming frequencies designed for recovery. But nothing could calm the racing of Zalara's twin hearts. She knelt beside him. "We begin with contact." Ryan laughed lightly. "You make that sound like a warning." "In my culture, it is," she said seriously. "We do not touch without meaning." He looked at her, no longer joking. "Then let's make it mean something." She extended her hands, placing them on his chest, just above his heart. His body was warm under her touch, pulsing with life. Her fingers moved in slow circles, waking the dormant nerves in his muscles. He inhaled sharply. "Too much?" she asked. "No," he said, "just different. Feels strange having someone touch me this gently." She tilted her head. "Do humans not touch like this? Not unless they're close, or falling for someone." Zalara's hand paused for a second, but only a second. She continued the therapy, guiding his arms up and down, stretching each muscle slowly. Her hands ran along his spine, firm but gentle. Ryan followed every instruction, but his mind wasn't on recovery anymore. Neither was hers. Their bodies moved in rhythm. Her breath cinched with his. Time faded. It wasn't just healing. It was something else, something deeper. "Why are your hands shaking?" he asked suddenly. She stopped. "I don't know. Maybe because you are human. Or maybe," he said quietly, "because you're starting to feel what I'm feeling." She looked at him, her eyes wide. "What are you feeling?" He stepped closer, barely a breath between them. Connection. Not just touch, something that doesn't need translation. For a moment, Zalara didn't move, then slowly she lifted her hand and placed it against his cheek. Her thumb brushed his jaw. Her heart thundered. "This is forbidden," she whispered. Ryan nodded. "Then stop." She didn't. Instead, she stepped even closer, her body now touching his. She felt his chest rise against hers. His heartbeat was steady, strong, and somehow in sync with hers. "I've treated hundreds of patients," she whispered, "but I've never wanted to heal someone like this." Ryan's hand moved up, resting lightly over hers. "You're not just healing me, Zalara. You're changing me." Her breath caught. Just then, the door hissed softly, a soft warning tone. Someone had approached but hadn't entered. A reminder that this was still a medical bay, still a place with rules, with eyes, with danger. Zalara pulled away gently. "That's enough therapy for today," Ryan smiled. "For the body, maybe." They both turned away, pretending nothing happened, but something had happened. Touch had awakened more than just muscles. It had awakened desire, bonding, and danger. For the first time, Zalara realized that healing the human might not just break the rules. It might break her heart. It began with whispers. In the long silver halls of Zoral Prime Medical Center, alien nurses walked past each other with careful glances and half-closed mouths. Conversations stopped whenever Zalara entered. Smiles turned cold. Doors closed quickly behind her. The staff didn't need to say her name out loud. Everyone knew, the nurse who touched the human, the one who stayed too long in his room, the one who forgot the difference between patient and passion. At first, Zalara tried to ignore it. She told herself it didn't matter, that the only thing that mattered was Ryan's recovery, his health, his peace. But deep inside, she knew they weren't just judging her professionalism, they were judging her heart. Inside the recovery room, Ryan noticed the change too. The air felt colder, meals arrived late. A new nurse replaced Malin, and the warm greetings from the staff had disappeared. "Something's up," he muttered, stretching his arm carefully. "You look different." Zalara stood quietly by the medical cabinet. She didn't answer right away. "I heard them talking," she finally said. "They think I've broken code, that I've become emotionally compromised." Ryan chuckled softly. "Well, they're not wrong. She looked at him, surprised. "I'm not saying you have," he clarified. "I'm saying if you did, I wouldn't blame you." She walked over to him, her steps slow, her voice quieter than ever. "You don't understand how serious this is, Ryan. Our rules aren't just suggestions, they're law. If they think I've bonded with you, they could remove me from service. They could erase my memory." His smile faded. "Erase?" She nodded. "It's called a purity reset. It removes all emotional connection to a subject. It's rare, but in interspecies cases, it's used." A long silence fell between them. Ryan stared at her. "You'd forget me? I wouldn't choose to. But they might not give me a choice." He stood up slowly, ignoring the small ache in his leg. "Then maybe I should leave. The sooner I'm out of here, the sooner they leave you alone." "No," she said sharply, grabbing his arm. "You're not ready. You still need care. You still need time." He looked at her hand on his skin, then met her eyes. "Maybe we both do." Her grip loosened. She stepped back. "They'll report me soon. Maybe even today." Ryan frowned. "So what do we do?" Zalara looked out the glass wall, watching distant medical drones fly over the alien skyline. The stars were out, but none of them felt comforting. "I don't know," she whispered. Just then, the door opened with a hiss. 2 senior medics stepped inside. One was Dr. Varan, the one who had always looked at Ryan like he was a threat. The other, a tall female director named Elvexa, carried a clipboard in her long, elegant hands. "Nurse Zalara," Elvexa said coldly. "We need a word." Zalara stood tall. "About what?" "Your conduct, your time spent in this room, and your closeness with the human." "I've done nothing unprofessional," she said quickly. "We've reviewed room logs," Elvexa replied. "You spent 7 continuous nights inside a restricted care unit, alone, with an unbonded patient." Ryan stepped forward. "She saved my life, every day." Dr. Varan narrowed his eyes. "No one is questioning your recovery, human. But your presence has caused confusion, disruption, emotional contamination." "I'm not a virus," Ryan snapped. "No," Elvexa said. "But what grows between species without guidance often becomes one." Zalara's heart pounded. "I didn't violate any protocol." "Then you'll take the empathy scan," Elvexa said. "If your emotions are still in balance, we'll clear you." Zalara froze. The empathy scan didn't lie. It revealed everything: longing, desire, even hidden thoughts, and she had many. She glanced at Ryan. His face said what her heart already knew. They were both already too far in. After the officers left, the silence between them felt heavier than ever. Ryan sat back down. "You going to take it?" "I have no choice." "You could lie." She shook her head. "It reads emotions, not words." He exhaled hard, running a hand through his hair. "I hate this." "So do I." He reached for her hand again. She didn't stop him. "Zalara," he said, "even if they take your memory, I won't forget you." She bit her lip, trying to hide the tears that threatened to fall. "That's the cruel part. I will forget you. I might look at you and feel nothing." He squeezed her hand tightly. "Then I'll remind you, every day." Her voice cracked. "They won't let you stay. Then I'll find you." The light dimmed again as the ship's cycle entered night mode. But for the first time, night didn't feel safe. The world outside was judging them, and now it was preparing to separate them. Zalara sat alone in the memory chamber. The lights were dim, and the walls were silent, almost like they were watching her. In front of her was the empathy scan device, glowing with soft blue light, waiting to read her mind, her feelings, her truth. One scan, and everything inside her would be revealed. There would be no more hiding. If the scan detected emotional bonding with the human, her punishment would be final reassignment, memory erasure, and complete disconnection from the one person who made her feel alive. She closed her eyes, her fingers trembling over the scan panel. He said he'd remind me. But what if I no longer recognize his voice? Outside the chamber, Ryan stood by the glass, watching her. His fists were clenched. He hated this. She wasn't a criminal. She had saved him. She had healed him. And somewhere in the quiet of those long nights, she had loved him. But now, the system wanted to erase that dot, to erase them. An hour passed. The chamber door opened with a soft hiss. Solara walked out slowly, her eyes dazed, her expression unreadable. Ryan rushed forward. What happened? What did it say? She looked at him for a long moment, then whispered. It said I am emotionally compromised. His heart sank. What? Does that mean now? They've given me a choice, she said. Under medical law, I can either accept memory erasure and return to service. Or resign. Resign? He repeated. You mean, I'd lose my position, my rank, everything I've built here? He stepped closer. And if you resign, I'm free, she said quietly. But I can never serve again. The hallway was quiet. No one dared interrupt. Solara looked up into his eyes. I spent years trying to be perfect, to be logical, cold, but you made me feel something that was never in any textbook. Ryan swallowed. So what did you choose? She took a slow breath and smiled. I requested transfer to Earth. His eyes widened. You what? I submitted it this morning, she said. Before the scan. Before the verdict. I knew my heart wouldn't pass. So I chose to follow it instead. You're serious? She stepped even closer. I don't want to forget you, Ryan. I want to learn you, day by day, word by word, touch by touch. He pulled her into a tight embrace, warm, real, and full of everything they had fought to. Hide. You'll love Earth, he whispered into her ear. You'll teach me every crazy part of it. 2 days later, the departure chamber buzzed with low voices. A few nurses stood at a distance, whispering as Solara walked through in plain clothing, no longer wearing her medical uniform, no badge, no title. Just her name and a heart that had chosen a human over her whole world. Ryan waited near the ship, holding 2 travel packs. When she appeared, his smile lit up the entire docking bay. You sure about this? He asked. Solara looked around one last time at the world she had served, the people who never truly understood her. Then she looked at him and nodded. I'm sure. They walked together toward the shuttle. The doors hissed open, accepting them like a quiet promise of a new beginning. Before stepping inside, Solara paused. Do humans always break rules for love? She asked. Ryan smiled. Only the good ones. And what happens when love breaks the rules back? Then we make new ones, he said, holding out his hand. She took it without hesitation. The ship lifted gently into the stars, leaving Zorul. Prime behind. Inside, 2 hearts from different worlds beat together. No longer just nurse and patient. Not just human and alien, but something new, something dangerous, something beautiful.